Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Why living in Greece has become impossible.
Big financial crisis, almost 500,000 of people left. They went to other countries, mostly around Europe and in the States, and they created their families there.
Amid growing public unrest in Greece, the government there is temporarily halting the construction of permanent detention centers for people seeking asylum who are flocking to the country.
I want to turn to Greece now, where the government is facing mounting pressure over a phone tapping scandal. It's alleged that the spyware software called Predator was planted on people's mobile phones, including journalists and the leader of an opposition party.
These Athens residents.
Hey, that's some shit. We had never heard that before. Wow, okay.
this is a recent video.
Yeah, 2 days ago, I think.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, 2 days ago. Huh.
Of their neighborhood.
Despite being known for its ancient history, crystal clear waters, and the Olympic Games, living in Greece is much more challenging than you might think. Skyrocketing costs, rising poverty affecting 1 in 4 locals, and a growing housing crisis are pushing many Greeks to seek better opportunities abroad. Although it has a relatively high GDP per capita, Greece lags behind the average of developed countries, leaving residents increasingly trapped in a risky economic situation. Property prices in Greece have been rising, especially in popular areas, making homeownership more expensive than it has ever been. Areas like Athens and Thessaloniki have seen significant price jumps, particularly driven by increased demand from foreign investors seeking golden visas. According to the Bank of Greece, property prices in Athens rose by
I
7.
didn't know golden visas was a thing. I thought that was invented by Trump. I didn't know that in other countries they had golden visas.
You think Trump is that creative?
I think he like gold because in his home he put like on the borders gold.
Yeah, no, we've seen golden visas, I think, in Portugal,
Yeah,
Greece. Yeah, they have them.
0.7% in 2024, while prices in Thessaloniki rose by 12%. Combine this with the fact that unemployment
That's a lot in 1 year by 7% or 12%. Like, still, it's a lot.
is way higher here compared to the European Union average. Crime, violence, and vandalism are on the rise. Public trust in politics is dipping lower and lower each year, and the country's geographical location makes it a prime gateway for migrants and refugees entering Europe. And it's fair to say that Greece is facing huge challenges. Challenges that are starting to feel impossible to overcome. So today on Across the Globe, we'll be looking at the obstacles Greece is facing and why many are starting to wonder, is Greece still a place to call home?
Tens of thousands of migrants and refugees have been stranded in Greece for more than 4 years.
Greece is hardening its approach to migrants, saying it has little choice given a lack of support from the rest of Europe.
Greece has long been a key destination for people fleeing conflict and instability, serving as a main entry point into Europe for many migrants and refugees. With its strategic geographical position along the Aegean Sea, the country has become a crucial stop for individuals coming from the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. Greek authorities estimate that up to 90% of illegal immigrants entering the EU do so through Greece, highlighting the seriousness of the ongoing crisis.
Well, if it happens through Greece, then why doesn't EU give Greece more money for border security to hire, I'm assuming so to hire sea patrols and all that? Like, come
Yeah,
on,
because you
EU.
would think they would get because they said they don't have international support.
Yeah, so
But I think this is the reason to have
yeah,
international
so
support.
EU, it affects the whole. It enters through Greece, then go up from Greece to Albania, to North Macedonia, to wherever, So EU sends some money Greece way.
As Syrian refugees and migrants from Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan flood into Greek island camps in urban centers like Athens and Thessaloniki, the sheer volume of newcomers has begun to strain public resources. Concerns really mounted in 2023 when the number of illegal immigrants arriving rose to 31,000 within a year, up from 18,000.
But how do they manage these numbers if they're illegal? They don't know. How can you count illegal immigrants? The whole point is illegal, untracked, undocumented.
For all of 2022. According to VOA News, while nearly 680,000 migrants have been legalized since 2021, around 60,000 migrants remain in the country illegally. As tensions grow over the government's response, the issue isn't just about how refugees are treated, but also about the ability of a system that seems unable to support both newcomers and longtime residents, leading to a sharp decline in public trust. In 2020, Pew Research Center reported that following a survey, an overwhelming majority of Greeks, 92%, said they disapprove of the way the EU had been handling the refugee issue. This survey was conducted following the surge of migrants making their way into the country through neighboring Turkey, when President Recep Tayyip Erdogan opened the doors for their passage into Greece. The economic impact of immigration on Greece is complicated, especially given the country's ongoing economic crisis. Many migrants and refugees arriving on Greek shores face tough challenges, as high unemployment, especially among young people, makes it hard to find stable jobs. The labor market dynamics in Greece reveal significant disparities between migrants and native workers. Between 9 and 11% of the registered Greek labor force of 4.4 million are foreigners. Migrants additionally make up 25% of wage and salary earners. By the third quarter of 2023, the labor force participation rate for foreigners reached 69.4%, compared to just 51.2% for Greek nationals. This situation is further complicated by the fact that Greece's economy has been struggling to recover since the fiscal crisis of the 2010s, leading to limited job opportunities for both locals and newcomers alike. The influx of migrants has intensified competition for jobs, housing, and public services, creating a strain on resources that already feel stretched thin. Housing shortages have become one of the most pressing issues, driving up competition for affordable homes and
That's crazy how basically every nation, almost every developed nation facing housing shortages. It's
It's
crazy.
like we all at the same time synced. Like, woof.
Yeah, it's like, so we're like, I guess, there's some places where people just don't live, and all those places they're running from. That's
amplifying the struggles of low-income Greeks trying to secure stable housing. In March 2024, Greek City Times reported that homeownership is declining in Greece. They highlighted how, following the country's prolonged financial troubles, there has been a major shift in the housing market, with a significant rise in institutional and foreign ownership of residential properties. According to reports from the Hellenic Statistical Authority, Elstat, and Eurostat, Greece's home ownership rate saw a substantial drop from 84.6% in 2005 to 73.3% in 2021. In major urban centers like Athens and Thessaloniki, home ownership rates have plummeted even further, hovering around 60 to 65%. Throughout 2022, the per square meter cost in Greece saw an approximate 8 to 10% increase. By 2024, house prices were only 4% below the highest point ever recorded in the third quarter of 2008. As resources shrink, both migrants and locals compete for the same limited housing, creating a tense environment that can lead to social conflict. This competition leaves many feeling overlooked and struggling to meet their basic needs, whether they are Greeks or newcomers. So why do people keep coming here? And why are people still staying if things are getting so bad? Greece has always been known for its scenery, Mediterranean lifestyle, and ancient history. For years, it has attracted tourists, retirees, and expats with its culture, food, art, and outdoor activities. The islands, with their white buildings and clear waters, are particularly popular. But for many locals, living even a simple life in Greece is becoming harder to afford. So outside of immigration issues, what else has gone so drastically wrong? Here's why there is so much more to the problem than you may think. The current housing market in Greece presents a troubling situation for residents, especially in popular urban centers like Athens and places like Santorini. Once considered affordable, these areas have seen soaring rent prices that are pushing locals out of their own
Santorini
neighborhoods.
was considered affordable? Wow.
Well, back in the day, everything was considered affordable, I think, because it became like such a popular destination by the rich. They came in, they bought up a lot of property, and the prices went up,
In Athens, for instance, rents have increased by over 40% in just the last 5 years, making it nearly impossible for young Greeks to remain in their own capital. In November 2023, the Business Times reported that home prices in Athens were rising faster than in most other European cities. Prices in the Greek capital went up by 12.2%, nearly 3 times more than in Stockholm. And unlike cities such as Paris, where prices were falling, by 2024, people were...
Why is Paris falling?
Why is Paris falling? That's interesting. Oh.
Truly fed up. Thousands of people took to the streets in Athens and other Greek cities as a 24-hour general strike to protest against the rising cost of living.
Damn. I guess that's the difference between Greek and American protests. Both of us protest, but in America, if that happened, ooh.
The situation is even more dire in the broader Attica region, where rents have skyrocketed by up to 100% over the past 8 years, straining both low-income and middle-class households to their limits. The National Herald highlights how this housing crisis is intensified by a severe shortage of available rental units, which has prompted many landlords to shift their properties to short-term rentals, particularly for tourists. This trend not only limits the options for potential long-term tenants, but also contributes to rapidly rising rents, effectively locking many locals out of the housing market altogether. Furthermore, the impact of tourism and foreign investment has significantly inflated the housing market in Greece, dramatically increasing the challenges faced by locals. As international buyers flock to the country, driven by the allure of its diverse scenery and potential for profitable rentals, property prices have surged beyond the means of many Greek residents. Investors from abroad often possess greater financial resources, allowing them to outbid local buyers and secure properties that would have previously been attainable. This influx of foreign capital not only drives up housing prices, but also steers the market towards short-term rentals catered to tourists, thereby diminishing the
Airbnb problem.
Yeah, in Portugal and Spain, in the major cities, Barcelona, I think Madrid, yeah.
availability of affordable long-term housing
I
for
don't know. I
residents.
feel like Airbnbs are becoming less popular because they have so much problems in themselves too, as well. Like safety, actually having a good stay.
It's hard to say if they're becoming less and less. It seems like that because that's what you see on social media.
Yeah.
But to say like, oh, it's getting less and less, but we'd have to look at the statistics. How many people, like in comparison, for example, hotels versus Airbnb in like 2020 and now 2025. To kind of see the truth. Because the thing with social media is a bubble a lot of times. You see one thing, but then if you look at the stats, in reality, that does not reflect reality. So I don't know if Airbnb is being on decline or not.
Because before Airbnb, I would think of the like bed and breakfasts.
Oh, yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, bed and breakfast. That was real nice. You go, you stay, get a little breakfast. Yeah.
And then now we switched over. I don't know. It for the start of Airbnb, the whole concept is so interesting, and I'm surprised. Like in some cities that they have regulations where you have to have like a proper license.
Yeah.
And then there's some cities that they don't even allow that. So it's in the interest of protecting the locals.
Many middle-class Israeli families coming to take a studio, and
it's a tough issue with Airbnb because on one hand you don't want to prevent people from doing business, right? Because that's their right.
But some people they buy up like 12 properties.
On the other hand, it's like,
and that's how they get their money. I think it should be like fishing. You know how fishing they have a limit how much you can fish.
Yeah.
There should be a limit to how many of those
I
properties
guess,
you can get
or
as an individual.
or if you want to get more, you got to be heavily taxed or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. And heavy taxes kind of benefit the people too because they contribute to the government budget, whether climb out of that or help social services. I think that's the way to approach that.
make it an Airbnb. This is part of the golden visa. If you invest 250,000 euros in properties in Greece, you have this EU residence permit that could lead into a citizenship.
As Greece continues to attract investment from countries like Israel and Turkey, some call this economic progress, while others call it a silent invasion, leading to further tensions. Some might argue that this kind of investment.
That's the thing with the whole immigrants, whether legal or illegal. Europe is having a population crisis. I don't know if Greece is or not. I'm not exactly sure on that. When we've seen the countries with the negative populations, Greece, I don't recall seeing Greece there. So maybe this is not like a prevalent issue in Greece. But in other countries, there's like a negative population crisis. So, immigration should help. However, when people coming are from completely different cultural backgrounds, they don't assimilate, but they bring their own culture and they kind of
Change the whole vibe.
yeah, they change the vibe. That's the thing. So it's one thing if one person comes in and they don't try one person comes in, they don't try to change the vibe, they try to assimilate. When you have thousands of people come in and move into the same neighborhood, they change the vibe of that neighborhood.
It's like going to a place like Wyoming where it's known for like fields, mountains, lakes, and then you want to make it into like a city. It's a completely
it's just completely
different atmosphere that you're creating.
And it's not even about like the xenophobia or whatever. It's not even about that. It's just about how the locals feel. Like it's just because at the end of the day, the locals should be the priority, not the people that coming from other countries. It's just in any country, that not just Greece, in any country that should be the case.
Is needed for Greece's continuous battle for economic recovery. However, is it even working? Because the truth of the matter is, Greece is still facing a major cost of living crisis.
We want working conditions to improve now, collective bargaining leading to real pay rises with bonuses. Every year the government offers us a pittance. This month, for instance, we got a pay rise of 60 cents an hour. That's peanuts compared to the rising cost of living.
Greece's economic recovery post-crisis has been a slow and taxing journey. And unfortunately, the cost of living has continued to rise relentlessly. In 2024, the Hellenic Statistical Authority, Elstat, reported that 26.9% of the Greek population, or 2,740,051 people, were at risk of poverty or social exclusion. This is
That's
an
a
increase
lot.
of 0.8 percentage points compared to 2023, when 26
That's a lot. Imagine 1 in 4 families, basically. More than 1 in 4 families. Wow.
6.1% of the population were at risk. Everyday essentials like food.
Now, I say this a lot, but honestly, I quite feel like here in the States is a similar statistic. So I don't feel I don't say it's a lot to like, oh, to look down upon them. It's a lot, but don't think it's much better here.
Food, gas, and utilities have spiked, placing an additional burden on ordinary Greeks who are already navigating a challenging financial environment. Between 2021 and 2024 alone, food prices in Greece jumped by 28.5%, averaging a 9.5% annual increase. The soaring costs of living are squeezing household budgets, forcing families to make difficult choices about what they can afford. According to RP Realty, half of private sector workers in Greece earn less than 1,000 euros gross, 820 euros net, and 70% earn under 1,200 euros gross, 950 euros net. And finding an apartment for 600 euros is considered pure luck. What's more,
so imagine you make like, let's say 1,200 euros net. I mean, gross. So 950 net. Apartment is 650. You have 350 left over for everything else. So let's say, you really squeeze in the groceries for like $1.50. 200 left for everything else. That's utilities, cell phone bill, commute, if you're driving bus pass or a car gas. Oof.
150 euros net, and finding an apartment for 600 euros is considered pure luck. What's more, a 2024 study by the nationwide e-real estates network paints a grim picture of rental availability in Athens and its surrounding areas. In central Athens, only 6.4% of properties suitable for families are available for 600 euros or less. And for those hoping to buy a home, most of them can think again. According to Prototherma, the percentage of home ownership has dropped from 84.6% to 61% over the past 2 decades. They noted how over 75% of those aged 50 and older continue to own their homes, but only 30% of young people do, and the rest rely on renting. So with all of this in mind, is it any wonder that many young Greeks are choosing to leave the country? While immigration has undeniably introduced competition for housing, jobs, and social services in Greece, it is also intertwined with the country's broader demographic and
I don't know, honestly. This looks very different than what we used to, but we do see the mountains, so it could be maybe northern Greece or something.
Economic challenges that are prompting young Greeks to seek opportunities abroad. Many young people feel increasingly voiceless in their own homeland, believing that they lack the ability to thrive in an environment where resources are stretched thin and economic prospects seem bare. Between 2010 and 2020.
But it's interesting, to see videos like this, because it just shows that the grass is always greener on the other side, because we do a lot of like, oh, this place is better, move to that place place is better, but yeah, but you see there's other issues too, like, so it's not, there's just issues everywhere. Yeah, there's issues everywhere.
2022, approximately 1.08 million working age individuals left Greece, with a troubling 234,058 of those aged 15 to 24. This exodus represents a significant brain drain, stripping the country of some of its most talented and ambitious youth just as it struggles to recover from years of economic turmoil. These young people, often highly educated and skilled, are departing in search of better job prospects and improved living conditions elsewhere in Europe and beyond, leaving Greece at risk of losing the very talent needed to drive future growth and innovation. The dual pressures of an increasing immigrant population and a declining native workforce create a
leaving a country like Greece to go somewhere up north, cold is hard. It's a very hard decision. I can only imagine, because the weather is important. That nice weather, and you go to like a place like UK, cold, rainy all the time.
Complex and challenging environment. As young Greeks leave in pursuit of opportunities, they amplify the demographic deficit, making it even harder for the remaining population to foster a sustainable economy. But is there something else they are running from? In 2024, Tovima reported that a bevy of recent major crimes has rocked Greece, raising deep concerns about public safety and the impact of rising criminal activities. They noted how the influx of
Right, and then also with the illegal immigration, you don't know if there's criminals coming through as well, because it's illegal. There's untracked. Anybody can come in. There could be, thieves, killers, rapists, anybody. Of course, could be good people too, but that's why illegal immigration is problematic, because there's no control. At least with legal immigration, you can check the background, criminal record, and all that stuff. Yeah, so
and they can have like a pathway to be successful.
Yeah, and illegal is just like, you don't know what's their intention coming here. Is their intention coming here to truly escape the their situation there for a better life, or is there intention to come in and just
And they're on survival
yeah,
mode.
just
So
kind of
it's gonna
steal,
be them before anybody else.
Offenders from Balkan nations, coupled with the unchecked actions of local and foreign thugs, has created an atmosphere where crime seems to be spiraling out of control. Recent data reveals a troubling spike in criminal activities, with cases of theft and burglary soaring to approximately 62,000 nationwide, up from 56,000 in 2022. This surge in crime has made certain areas increasingly unsafe, affecting both locals and tourists.
Well, at least it's just burglary and not, deaths.
For many Greeks, crime has become a daily concern. In some neighborhoods, locals are hesitant to walk alone at night, wary of becoming victims in an environment that feels increasingly unpredictable. Tourists, who once flocked to Greece for its beauty and culture, are now increasingly targeted by criminals, impacting the nation's reputation as a safe travel destination. According to Gov UK, as well as pickpocketing and mugging being rife in certain parts of Greece, terrorists are likely to try to carry out attacks in the country. They noted how attacks could be indiscriminate, including in places visited by foreign nationals. They added that there have been several attacks involving explosives and automatic weapons against Greek institutions, shopping malls, banks, media offices, diplomatic premises, and the police. This rising crime rate and unease not only instills fear in residents, but also poses significant challenges for local businesses and tourism-dependent economies. So in a country that is truly struggling, what's next? Can it recover? In response to the many challenges the country faces, the Greek government and various organizations are working to stabilize the housing market, reduce poverty, and improve public safety. However, recovery is still a slow and difficult process. While initiatives are being developed to address issues like the housing crisis and unemployment, it is clear that significant reform is necessary for meaningful progress. As the country grapples with ongoing economic struggles, questions linger about its future viability. Is there hope for Greece's future? Will it be able to overcome its housing and economic crisis, or will it continue to see its best and brightest leave in search of better opportunities? From unaffordable housing to rising crime and economic hardships,
Whoever
it's
solves
clear
this
that life in
answer, they gotta share with the other countries
know,
because
right?
we all
'Cause
going through this.
a lot of countries growing through this, so Greeks, you are not alone.
Greece is increasingly difficult for those who call it home. However, Greece has already proven to be a resilient country that has the ability to bounce back. But the question is, can it do it again? Only time will tell. What about why living in the US gets worse every year?
What?
Why
I
does it
began
get
dragging
worse?
here.
Why does it get
Get worse,
worse
please
living
tell
in
us.
the US every year?
Can I see the comments?
I love the video switch. Let me go back.
Oh.
The big financial crisis.
Okay. Why is living in the US getting worse?
He didn't lie. It gets worse.
It does get worse, but now I want to watch that video.
It's not
Why?
gonna get worse, sir. It's worse.
It gets worse and worse. You feel like, oh, we've hit rock bottom. Guess what? Next year,
There's more bottom.
more bottom to hit. It's crazy.
Like we're literally digging.
What happened to Greece is what happening in Australia. Wow, Australia too. Would have never thought, huh? The structure of the culture. What we were saying in every country. Back in the day, it took 300 Spartans to stop the entire Persian invasion. It sure can be done.
I know. Where are your Protimo?
Yeah.
Please.
Basically, every Western country is.
Wow.
Greece can be a great place depending on the individual situation. Well, that's a perspective. That's nice.
Not Protimo. Philotimo. Philotimo. Ooh, I was like, Protimo did not make sense. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.